What's up, everybody? Jason Burmis here, broadcasting from my my alma mater, SUNY Oneonta. I thought that I'd take a walk up here because I don't know that SUNY Oneonta is ever going to open up the way it was opened up again, and I thought that it would be a cool thing to take a walk. I ended up taking a phone call just before with my ex, who's down in the city, and just for those that don't know or like weren't paying attention, I mentioned at one point during all this craziness that she thought she had it. Now, they never tested her, okay? They never ever tested her. She thought she had it. She lost her sense of smell, sense of taste, had the light fever. 60 people watching, 4 thumbs up. Let's get the thumbs up. Don't worry, we're gonna get into Trump technology, all that good stuff. So she let me know that she took the antibodies test and she tested positive for the antibodies. So yes, she had it, and she came up with the antibodies. And there are some people, again, like my cousin, Marissa, who tested, remember, she tested negative initially. They diagnosed her with pneumonia after trying to get it 3 times. Then they called her back up. She went to Bear Mountain. She felt fine. They tested her positive. She did 2 weeks of quarantine, went back out, and then a couple weeks ago at Vassar, tested for the antibodies and did not have them. So, who knows? Like I said, it could be in, out. My buddy in Brooklyn, who believes that his baby is right now positive, has all those Kawasaki symptoms, says that his baby and his wife have tested negative for the virus, and he doesn't believe that. So there's still a lot going on. But I wanted to jump in and talk Trump, talk technology, the moon, Mars, NASA, and Space Force. Space Force got its new flag, right? Before I get there, I'm just going to do this briefly. Thank you for all the support. As you guys know, I had to put my dog down yesterday. Hard. Oh, very hard. So I'm gonna move on from that, kind of walk the campus while I can. So Trump, talking technology. So as a lot of you guys know, I talk about Peter Thiel quite a bit. And for those that don't know who Peter Thiel is like this entrepreneur who came up with PayPal with Elon Musk, right? But he's a lot more than that. He's behind a ton of initiatives working in between the United States and China. A lot of people like to say he's one of the good guys, that he's like a libertarian. I'm not so sure about that. Now, Trump originally picked him as his technology advisor. Peter Thiel is also a steering member on the Bilderberg Committee, right? So in 2017, when I went to Bilderberg and Thiel was there, that was one of my main contentions. Now, on the flip side of that, somebody like Eric Schmidt, much more of a leftist apparently, he's also on that steering committee at Bilderberg. It's one thing to be a Bilderberg attendee. It's another thing to be there every single year and steering the group in its direction. So always suspicious, never trusted Thiel. And now, apparently, he's no longer going to be involved at all with the Trump administration. I don't know if he's left his technology advisor. I'm not sure how much he was actually involved in that moniker. I looked up Trump technology advisors, and I got somebody completely different. He said they had like a group of 7. Man, all this construction here, just going to be going by the wayside, guys. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, what are they going to do here? You know what? Let's walk down to my old dorm. Why not? Nobody's up here. It's empty. It'll probably never be as full as it once was again here at Oneonta, New York. And without this, guys, without this college, my economy here is done. It's done. So now Thiel is apparently being quoted in the Daily Beast attacking President Trump's coronavirus response. And certainly, I'm not a fan of the lockdowns and the way it was handled, and I'm certainly not a fan of how things were not mobilized sooner. I've talked about it with Dan Dix. What should we have done? And there were a lot of things we could have done to ensure there was not a lockdown, have separate facilities for COVID patients. All that was within our reaches. And because we ignored it, and we didn't do anything, it became basically not in our reach, okay? So, moving on, Thiel's a big player. What he says and does matter. So for him to attack Trump like that could be bad news brown for Trump and his team. At the same time, you know, this administration saying it's going to go after Google, which we're going to get to in a second. Google, Facebook, Twitter, the big companies, and an antitrust suit. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see any crimes against humanity based on the data harvesting and a lot more, okay? Thumbs this video up, guys. Subscribe and share if you're new. Let's continue through that. NASA and Google are in bed together and have been in bed together for quite some time in the arena of what? Quantum computing and artificial intelligence, right? Big time in that arena. Back in the D-Wave system days, all right? What does that mean? Why is that significant? Well, it shows that this is not really a private company. It's more of a government agency than anything. That's the truth, right? It's more of a government agency, Google is, or a pseudo-government agency than it was ever a private company. And NASA is just filling everybody's head with a bunch of horse shit right now. They act like, you know, they're going to Mars and they're going to the moon. That's the big story. We're going to the moon in 2024 and then we're going to Mars. No, you're not. Stop telling, you're pushing the goalpost back and you're continuing to do that. And what's so upsetting about it, right, is that people fall for it. Like, look, I watched Elon Musk on Joe Rogan, and people have to realize SpaceX ain't going to the moon. It's rocket technology. If rocket technology was so great in 2020, we would be sending our astronauts up to the ISS on our own rocket ships. We're not. We send them up on Russian rocket ships. And if rocket technology was so advanced by 2020, how many large nations like Russia and China would have duplicated or improved that technology to actually go to the moon by now? Think about that. And I'm not going to sit here and get into any wacky conspiracy theories, but the proof is in the pudding. So what are they working on? Well, in the realm of quantum computing and artificial intelligence, one of the interpretations of quantum computing is that they are reaching into mirror universes, parallel worlds, the multiverse. In fact, that's the predominant theory, that we live in the multiverse now. Not just a simulation, but the multiverse where infinite things infinitely happen and everything happens, basically. Everything that could possibly happen, happens. And I've done videos on this as well. Well, today, NASA is saying, and you can go check out these articles, that they have discovered a parallel universe, and it has inverted physics, folks. Here it is, Madison Hall. This is where it all began, guys. This is where Jason Burmis in 1997 spent his freshman and sophomore years. I lived in this hall. It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad to see this place really go down the tubes and not be able to be saved. Not gonna be able to save the town anymore. So they're announcing these parallel universes with inverted physics, by the way, right? Now, I'm not saying that we have everything locked down in physics. We don't. But I think the idea of either a simulation or a multiverse does what? I'll tell you what. It takes away from our soul, our humanity, our free will, our free choice. It says, well, what you're doing doesn't really matter because it was predetermined anyway. And in another predetermined scenario, you're going to do something slightly different. So you don't really have a soul. You don't have free will, free choice. And in that sense, what kind of morality do you end up having? I'd like to address that for a second. If there really is no right or wrong, if we're all in a simulation, what does it really matter? I would assume that it really doesn't, right? But that's not real. What if there is only one universe, only one dimension where we exist, right? Not saying there isn't a multiverse or parallel universes or dimensions that we don't see. Not saying that at all. But what if we are actually unique, sentient beings that are capable of things like love and hate and, you know, building communities and destroying them, all by our own free will? That's a different scenario, isn't it? That's a way, way different scenario. And what if we're not just, you know, brains inside of bodies? What if we actually do have something like consciousness or a soul, which I believe we do? You know, maybe I'm not saying it the right way or know exactly what it is, and have no idea, but we are constant energy, and energy that is aware of itself. It's self-aware. So I'm always extremely skeptical when I hear these things, especially out of NASA's mouth. It's, a known lying organization, an organization that's kept so many things so close to their chests and put on such big disinformation campaigns. It's hard to believe anything out of their mouths, right? When they start talking about parallel universes and going back to the moon and Mars, I'm skeptical. Elon Musk isn't worried about going to the moon or Mars with SpaceX. He's worried about putting Starlink up and his satellites. That's what he's worried about. Not worried about much else. Why would he be? He doesn't have much else to be worried about, right? So, Space Force and their new flag. Space Force is really just a rebranding of what's been going on in the Air Force at black sites through places like Area 51 and and others, underground at bases. That's really it. That's all you're looking at. You're not looking at much else. And in this very, very wacky time where so many people are ready to just give up their jobs, right? Just go into some kind of universal basic income, restructure society, go on unemployment, be taught online in schools, not, socially distanced 6 feet away from each other. All these things that are very, very anti-human, anti-contact. And even now, I wear a mask. I don't even carry my mask with me unless I'm going to a big box store. 60 thumbs up, 180 watching, thumbs it up. But at the same time, if I need to go to one of these big box stores because I need toilet paper, or I need water, or I need any kind of an essential, right? Or I want fresh meat, which is tough enough to come by, I got to put a slave mask on. So that being said, guys, everybody knows that I'm about to take off. And I really am. Looks like June 1st. I plan on being in a car and starting my journey across the country. Right now on the short list, and again, this could change, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, maybe Boise, Idaho, maybe Kansas City, Missouri, Madison, Wisconsin. They're there. I was looking at smaller places like even Overlook, Kansas. But in order to do all that, I'm going to need your support. I'm fully demonetized on this platform. YouTube is not an option for me to make money anymore. If you watch the watch along where, I asked for a channel review, I'm not too hopeful, but we'll find out. So $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. Big donors, please, I need you now more than ever. And really, the goal of this whole thing, at least for me on my end, is going to be not only moving to a new city, starting a new life, but to be able to finally get an office, broadcast from that office on top of everything else. I'm not saying that's going to happen out of the gates. I want to find some place that's cool, that's nice, and then possibly make the decision to pull the trigger on some type of office. But that's fully going to depend on where, when, what the price of living is going to be. I'm going to be doing interviews along the way. That should be pretty fun. Tried to stream, 3 to 7 times a day like I normally would from certain city centers, and I'm trying to get somebody to go with me. We'll see what happens. Whether or not I'm accompanied or I'm just all alone on the road with you guys. Any way you look at it, I got to do this. I got to pull the trigger. I'm going to be looking hardcore for everybody out there who's thinking about relocating or especially getting out of New York, which is just one of the worst places to be right now, even though it's gorgeous. I mean, you look at this, guys, this ain't New York City, obviously. I love the way it looks. I love the community I've built here. It's too bad the economy is about to tank and the authoritarianism is going to come in on a new level in this state, because it is a gorgeous state. But, I'm going to be reviewing places, saying, hey, this place didn't shut down that much. Everything seems pretty normal. And talking about the news, talking about what's going on. Obviously, things won't be as much produced, but you guys seem to like the walk and talks as well. So, once again, guys, I just want to thank you all for the support, not only over the past couple days, which have been really rough for me. Tough after 13 years. But over the last, almost year that I've been independent, and believe it or not, in the last couple weeks, I've reconnected with Luke Rudowski of We Are Change, and hopefully we're going to be doing some video work together. He's looking to leave the state too, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. He's trying to get me to move to Mexico, you know, before I stopped working for him. And I was like, look, man, I ain't moving to Mexico. I want to stay at least in the United States. But yeah, he's one of those travelers. So we'll see. But yeah, you should see me and Luke do a stream sometime soon in the near future. That's pretty much a certainty. And, you know, I'm wishing him the best. You know, I never badmouth that organization. I never badmouth Luke because he does good work. And we are changes where we really need to be. We need to start confronting these out of control politicians, policymakers, and unelected bureaucrats that are telling us how to live. And until we do that, you know, we're never going to stand a chance. So I'm just overall, guys, you guys all know how I feel. I'm blessed. I've lived a really lucky life. I've worked hard at it, but I've been able to get my voice out there, at least some. I've been able to, you know, enlighten people to what I think is the truth about most situations. And I've hopefully been humble enough that when I'm wrong, I admit it. So, you know, that's how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to live it to the best possible way I can. So guys, on the way out, thumbs it up, subscribe and share if you're new. And again, any donations right now are going to mean the world to me. And we got to hit that 5,000 or better mark so we can really take a cool trip. I think I'm going to buy a drone too, so I can get footage aerial wise of these cities and towns I visit and share them with you guys. So everybody gets a good look at why I think this place is worth living in and why I don't. So once again, love you. See you on the flip.